With rumors rampant that Stephen Harper might make an early election call, possibly on Sunday, there has been a lot of talk about what effect that could have.
At the long weekend, they're not worried about their work, so they can actually think about the right candidate.
One perspective there. Joining us now in Ottawa to talk about the pros and cons of an early election call is pollster Nick Nanos. Good to see you, Nick.
Good morning.
So who does or which party might an early election call favor?
Well, the Conservatives control the timing of the election, so they obviously believe that an early election will benefit them. They probably want to put a great big spike in those third-party negative attack ads, many of them from Canada's largest unions, in order to just focus on the other opposition parties and not to have to deal with what I'll say a shot from the grassy knoll from third parties that have been running attack ads against the Conservatives.
Is there a risk, though, in doing this and calling it early?
Yeah, it's kind of like your weather report, the hurricane warning, Category 1 election alert, increasing in intensity and size and speed. The thing is that these are very risky endeavors. And the other thing is that, when you go into an election campaign, anything can happen. So, I would say for the Conservatives, it's actually quite risky at this particular point in time. We still have the Duffy trial to watch out for next week.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And I want to drill down a little bit more into the finances because the war chest for the Conservatives is quite sizable. But the NDP pointing out that it had, a heck of a quarter and raised a record amount of money. So let's look at the different parties and what kind of financial shape they are in if this election goes early.
Well, it's pretty clear the Conservatives have always had the upper hand on the finances. I think it would be fair to say that they have the most efficient, impactful fundraising machine out there compared to all of the parties, and they know that they can outspend the other campaigns. The thing that's been surging are the New Democrats. The New Democrats have been improving in terms of their election funding, but the thing is that you can't underestimate the impact of the big dollar and the spend. And I think the Conservatives are kind of counting up the dough that they have, knowing that they have more than the New Democrats and the Liberals, and are banking on the fact to just gird yourself for attack ads and advertising and all that kind of stuff to kind of cover the airwaves with their message in order to try to gain political advantage.
What kind of shape is Justin Trudeau and the Liberals in?
Well, when we look at the trending, the latest CTV News Nanos polling suggests that right now the Trudeau Liberals are at a 12-month low, in terms of preferred prime minister, accessible voter. The trend is not favoring the Liberals. The trend right now is favoring the New Democrats, and still the Conservatives are in a good position. But right now, the Liberals need a reset. Perhaps the election call will give them more profile and allow them to engage and start moving their numbers, but right now they're not in great shape.
Justin Trudeau said to be in Vancouver this weekend. How, Nick, does this change the strategies of the parties, if they're dealing now with a very long game?
Well, they have to change their tour strategy in terms of the leader, but they also, the biggest decision and most important decision has to do with when will they spend their money. If you remember back in the 2006 election, that was a very long election. That was an election that came over Christmas. The Conservatives front-loaded that campaign with the spending, and by Christmas time, the tank was almost empty because they had spent a lot of money on advertising and hadn't moved the numbers. So watch to see when the parties decide to really ramp up their spending. I think the reality is that even with an early election call, the real campaign will only intensify probably after Labor Day.
All right, CTV's official pollster, Nick Nanos, with some details this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.